Welcome, everyone, to our final principal read along. We'll be finishing scene 7 today of Tennessee Williams' The Glass Menagerie. This has been such a fun project to share with you, one of my favorite plays. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and hope it's maybe lighten the load a little for you during this really strange time for us. Anyway, here we go. Tennessee Williams, The Glass Menagerie. Now we're the scene that the gentleman caller and Laura are on the floor with a candelabra. The lights have gone out in the dinner because Tom did not pay the electric light bill. Tom and his mother are in the kitchen washing the dishes, and Laura and the gentleman caller are speaking. Now, Laura very shy, but she seems to have warmed up a little to him when he has recalled her in their previous relationship. They're very surface platonic relationship that they had as being in the same class together in high school. So here we go. Glass Menagerie, scene 7. Jim, I guess you think I think a lot of myself. Laura, oh no. Well, now how about you? Isn't there something you take more interest in than anything else? Well, I do. As I said, I have my glass collection. A peal of girlish laughter rings from the kitchenette. Jim, I'm not right sure I know what you're talking about. What kind of glass is it? Well, it's little articles of it. They're ornaments mostly. Most of them are little animals made out of glass. The tiniest little animals in the world. Mother calls them a glass menagerie. Here is one example of one, if you'd like to see it. This one is one of the oldest. It's nearly 13. Music, The Glass Menagerie. Jim stretches out his hand. Oh, be careful. If you breathe, it breaks. I better not take it. I'm pretty clumsy with things. Oh, no, go on. I trust you with him. Laura places the piece on his palm. There now. You're holding him gently. Hold him over the light. He loves the light. See how the light shines through him? It sure does shine. I shouldn't be partial, but he is my favorite one. Well, what kind of a thing is this one supposed to be? Haven't you noticed the single horn on his forehead? A unicorn, huh? Mm-hmm. Unicorns. Aren't they extinct in the modern world? I know. Poor little fellow. He must feel sort of lonesome. Laura's smiling. Well, if he does, he doesn't complain about it. He stays on the shelf with some horses that don't have horns, and all of them seem to get along nicely together. How do you know? Oh, lightly, Laura says. I haven't heard any arguments among them. Jim grinning. No arguments, huh? Well, that's a pretty good sign. Where shall I set him? Laura. Put him on the table. They all like a change of scenery once in a while. Well. Jim places a glass piece on the table, then raises his arm and stretches. Look how big my shadow is when I stretch. Oh, yes, it stretches across the ceiling. Jim crossing the door. I think it stopped raining. Jim opens the fire escape door, and the background music changes to a dance tune. Where does that music come from? Well, from the Paradise Dance Hall across the alley. How about cutting the rug a little, Miss Wingfield? Oh, or is your program filled up? Let me have a look at it. He grabs an imaginary card. Why, every dance is taken. I'll just have to scratch some out. Waltz music, La Golondrina. Ah, a waltz. He executes some sweeping turns by himself and then holds his arms towards Laura. Laura, breathlessly, I can't dance. Well, there you go. That inferiority stuff. I have never danced in my life. Come on, try. But I'd step on you. Oh, I'm not made out of glass. How are we to start? You just leave it to me. You hold your arms out a little. Like this. Jim taking her in her arms. Well, a little bit higher. Right. Now, don't tighten up. The main thing about it is relax. Laura laughing breathlessly. Well, it's hard not to. Okay. I'm afraid you can't budge me. What do you bet I can't? Jim swings her into emotion. Goodness, you can. Let go. Now, let yourself go now, Laura. Just let yourself go. I'm Now come on. I'm trying. Not so stiff. Easy does it. I know, but I look, loosen the backbone. Now that's a lot better. Am I? Yes, lots better. He moves about the room in a clumsy waltz. Oh my, oh my goodness, and they suddenly bump into the table, and the glass piece on it falls to the floor, and Jim stops the dance. Jim, what did we hit on? Laura, that table. Did something fall off it? I think. Yes. I hope it wasn't that little glass horse with the horn. Yes. Laura stoops to pick it up. Oh, is it broken? Now it looks like just all the other horses. Oh, it's lost its horn. It doesn't matter. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Oh, you'll never forgive me. I bet that was your favorite piece of glass. I don't have favorites much. It's no tragedy. Freckles, the glass breaks so easily, no matter how carefully you are. Try that again. I don't have favorites much. It's no tragedy, Freckles. Glass breaks so easily. No matter how careful you are, the traffic jars the shelves and things fall off them. Jim, I am awfully sorry. I was the cause. Laura smiling. I'll just imagine he had an operation, that his horn was removed to make him feel less freakish. They both laugh. Now he will feel more at home with the other horses, the ones that don't have horns. Now, that's very funny. Jim, suddenly serious. I'm glad to see you have a sense of humor. Well, you're different, very different, surprisingly different from anyone else I know. Jim's voice becomes soft and hesitant with a genuine feeling. Do you mind me telling you that? Laura is abashed beyond speech. I mean it in a nice way. Laura, not shyly, looking away. You make me feel sort of, I don't know how to put it. I'm usually pretty good at expressing things, but this is something that I don't know how to say. Laura touches her throat and clears it. She turns the broken unicorn in her hands. Her voice becomes softer. Has anyone ever told you you were pretty? There is a pause, and the music rises slightly. Laura looks up slowly and with wonder and shakes her head. Well, you are, in a very different way from anyone else, and all the nicer because of that difference, too. Jim's voice becomes low and husky. Laura turns away, nearly faint with the novelty of her emotions. I wish that you were my sister. I'd teach you to have some confidence in yourself. The different people are not like other people. But being different is nothing to be ashamed of, because other people are not such wonderful people. They're 100 times 1,000. You're 1 times 1. They walk all over the earth and you just stay here. They're common as weeds and you're blue roses. Image on the screen, blue roses, and the music changes. Laura, but blue is wrong for roses. Well, it is right for you. You're pretty. In what respect am I pretty? Well, in all respects, believe me. Your eyes, your hair are pretty. Your hands are pretty. Jim catches hold of her hand. You think I'm making this up because I'm invited to dinner and have to be nice. Oh, well, I could do that. I could put on an act for you, Laura, and say lots of things without being very sincere. But this time I am. I am talking to you sincerely. I happen to notice that you had this inferiority complex that keeps you from feeling comfortable with people. Somebody needs to build your confidence up and make you proud instead of shy and turning away and blushing. Somebody ought to kiss you, Laura. Jim's hand slips slowly up her arm to her shoulder as the music swells tumultuously. Jim suddenly turns to her about and kisses her on the lips. When he releases her, Laura sinks on the sofa with a bright, dazed look. Jim backs away and fishes in his pocket for a cigarette. Legend on the screen, a souvenir. Jim, stumbled John. Jim lights a cigarette, avoiding her look. There is a peal of girlish laughter from Amanda in the kitchenette. Laura slowly raises and opens her hand. It contains the little broken glass animal. She looks at it with a tender, bewildered expressions. Stumbled, John. I shouldn't have done that. That was way off the beam. Oh, you don't smoke, do you? Laura looks up, smiling and not hearing the question. Jim sits beside her rather gingerly. Laura looks up at him speechlessly, waiting. Jim coughs decorously, and moves a little further aside as he considers the situation and senses her feelings dimly with perturbation. He speaks gently. Would you care for a mint? She doesn't seem to hear him, but her look grows brighter even. Peppermint? Lifesaver? My pocket's a regular drugstore wherever I go. Jim pops a mint in his mouth and he gulps and decides to make a clean breast of it. He speaks slowly and gingerly. Laura, you know, if I had a sister like you, I'd do the same thing as Tom. I'd bring fellows and introduce her to them. They're the right type of boys, the type so to appreciate her. Only, he made some mistake about me. Maybe I got no call to be saying this. That may not have been the idea in having me over, but what if it was? There's nothing wrong about that. The only trouble is in my case, and I'm not in a situation to, do the right thing. I can't take your number down and say I'll phone. I can't call you next weekend and ask for a date. So I thought I'd better explain the situation in case you misunderstood it and I hurt your feelings. There is a pause. Slowly, very slowly, Laura's look changes, her eyes returning slowly from his to his glass figure in the palm. Amanda utters another gay laugh in the kitchen. Laura faintly. You won't call again? No, Laura, I can't. Jim rises from the sofa. As I was just explaining, I've got strings on me, Laura. I've been going steady. I go out all the time with a girl named Betty. She's a homegirl like you, in Catholic and Irish, and in many great ways we get along fine. I met her last summer on a moonlight boat trip up the river to Alton on the Majestic. Well, right away from the start, it was love, legend love. Laura sways slightly forward and grips the arm of the sofa. He fails to notice now, enwrapped in his own comfortable being. Well, being in love has made a new man of me. Leaning stiffly forward, clutching the arm of the sofa, Laura struggles visibly with her storm, but Jim is oblivious. She is a long way off. The power of love is really pretty tremendous. Love is something that changes the whole world, Laura. The storm abates a little, and Laura leans back. He notices her again. It happened that Betty's aunt was sick, and she got a wire and had to go to Centralia. So Tom, when he asked me to dinner, I naturally accepted the invitation, not knowing that Jim stops awkwardly. Damn it, stumbled John. Jim flops back on the sofa. The holy candles on the altar of Laura's face have been snuffed out. There is a look of almost infinite desolation. Jim glances at her uneasily. Jim, I wish you would say something. Laura bites her lip, which was trembling, and then bravely smiles. She opens her hand again on the broken glass figure. Then she gently takes his hand and raises it level with hers. She carefully places the unicorn in the palm of his hand and then pushes her fingers closed upon it. What are you doing? What are you doing that for? You want me to have him? Laura nods. What for? A souvenir? Laura rises suddenly and crouches beside the Victrola to wind it up. Legend on screen. Things have a way of turning out so badly. Or an image. Gentleman caller waving goodbye gaily. At this moment, Amanda rushes brightly into the living room. She bears a pitcher of fruit punch in the old-fashioned cut pitcher and a plate of macaroons. The plate has a gold border and the poppies painted on it. Well, isn't the air delightful after the shower? I made you children a little liquid refreshment. Amanda turns gaily to Jim. Jim, do you know that song about lemonade? Lemonade, lemonade, made in the shade, good enough for any old maid. Jim uneasily. Oh, no. No, I never heard of it. Oh, Laura, you look so serious. We were having a serious conversation. Well, good. Now you're better acquainted. Yes, yes, yes. You modern people are much more serious-minded than my generation. I was so gay as a girl. You haven't changed, Mrs. Wingfield. Tonight I am rejuvenated. The gaiety of the occasion, Mr. O'Connor. Amanda tosses her head with a peal of laughter, spilling some lemonade. Oh, I am baptizing myself. Well, here, let me. No. Setting the pitcher down. There now. I discovered we had some maraschino cherries. I just dumped them in, juice and all. Well, you shouldn't have gone to that trouble, Mrs. Wingfield. Trouble. Why, it was loads of fun. Didn't you hear me cutting up in the kitchen? I bet your ears were burning. I told Tom how outdone with him I was for keeping you to himself for so long. He should have brought you over much, much sooner. Well, now that you found your way, I want you to be a very frequent caller. Not just occasional, but all the time. Oh, we're going to have a lot of gay times together. I see them coming. Just breathe that air, so fresh, the moon so pretty. I'll just skip back out. I know where my place is when young folks are having a serious conversation. Oh, no, don't go out, Mrs. Wingfield. The fact of the matter is, I've got to get going. Going now? Oh, you're joking. It's only the shank of the evening, Mr. O'Connor. Well, you know how it is. You mean you're a young working man and have to keep working man's hours? Well, I'll let you off early tonight, but only on the condition that next time you stay later. What's the best night for you? Isn't Saturday night the best night for you working men? I have a couple of time clocks to punch, Mrs. Wingfield. One in the morning and one at night. My, but you are ambitious. You work at night too? No, ma'am, not work, but Betty. Jim deliberately crosses to pick up his hat. The band at the Paradise Dance Hall goes into a tender waltz. Amanda, Betty. Betty? Who's Betty? There is an ominous cracking sound in the sky. Oh, it's just a girl, the girl I go steady with. He smiles charmingly. The sky falls. Legend, the sky falls. Amanda, a long-drawn exhalation. A long-drawn exhalation. Oh, is it a serious romance, Mr. O'Connor? Well, we're going to be married the second Sunday in June. Oh, how nice. Tom didn't mention that you were engaged to be married. Well, the cat's not out of the bag at the warehouse yet. You know how they are. They call you Romeo and stuff like that. He stops in the oval mirror to put on his hat. Carefully shapes the brim and the crown to give a discreetly dashing effect. It's been a wonderful evening, Mrs. Wingfield. I guess this is what they mean by Southern hospitality. It really wasn't anything at all. Well, I hope you don't think I hope it don't seem like I'm rushing off, but I promised Betty I'd pick her up at the Wabash Depot, and then by the time I get my jalopy down there, the train will be in. Some women are pretty upset if you keep them waiting. Yes, I know the tyranny of women. She extends her hand. Goodbye, Mr. O'Connor. I wish you luck and happiness and success. All three of them, and so does Laura. Don't you, Laura? Yes. Jim taking Laura's hand. Goodbye, Laura. I'm certainly going to treasure that souvenir. And don't you forget about the good advice I gave you. He raises his voice to a cheery shout. So long, Shakespeare. Thanks again, ladies. Good night. Jim grins and ducks jauntily out, still bravely grimacing. Amanda closes the door and the gentleman caller. Then she turns back the room with a puzzled expression. She and Laura don't dare to face each other. Laura crouches beside the Victrola to wind it. Amanda faintly. Things have a way of turning out so badly. I don't believe I would play that Victrola. Well, our gentleman caller was engaged to be married. Amanda raises her voice. Tom, from the kitchenette. Yes, Mother. Come in here a minute. I want to tell you something awfully funny. Tom entering with a macaroon and a glass of lemonade. Has the gentleman caller got away? Has the gentleman caller gotten away already? The gentleman caller has made an early departure. What a wonderful joke you played on us. How do you mean? You didn't mention he was engaged to be married. Jim? Engaged? That's what he just informed us. Well, I'll be jiggered. I didn't know that. Seems very peculiar. What's peculiar about it? Didn't you call him your best friend down in the warehouse? Well, he is, but how did I know? Seems extremely peculiar that you wouldn't know that your best friend is going to be married. The warehouse is where I work, not where I know things about people. You don't know things anywhere. You live in a dream. You manufacture illusion. Tom crosses to the door. Where are you going? I'm going to the movies. That's right. That's right. Now that you've had us make such fools of ourselves. The effort, the preparation, all the expense, the new floor lamp, the rug, the clothes for Laura, all for what? To entertain some other girl's fiance? Go to the movies. Go. Don't think about us. A mother deserted, an unmarried sister who's crippled and has no job. Don't let anyone interfere with your selfish ability. Just go to the movies. All right, I will. The more you shout about my selfishness to me, the quicker I'll go, and I won't go to the movies. You will go then. Go to the moon, you selfish dreamer. Tom smashes his glass on the floor. He plunges out on the fire escape, slamming the door. Laura screams in fright. The dance hall music becomes louder. Tom stands on the fire escape, gripping the rail. The moon breaks through the storm clouds, illuminating his face, legend on screen, and so goodbye. Tom's closing speech is timed with what is happening inside the house. We see as though through soundproof glass what Laura appears to be making a comforting speech to Laura, who is huddled upon the sofa. Now that we cannot hear the mother's speech, her silliness is gone, and she has the dignity and tragic beauty. Laura's hair hides her face until at the end of the speech she lifts her head and smiles at her mother. Amanda's gestures are slow and graceful, almost dance-like, as she comforts her daughter. At the end of her speech, she glances a moment at the father's picture, then withdraws through the portieres. At the close of the speech, Laura blows out the candle, ending the play. Tom's final speech. I didn't go to the moon. I went much further. For time is the longest distance between two places. Not long after that, I was fired for writing the poem on the lid of a shoebox, and I left St. Louis. I descended the steps of this fire escape for the last time and followed from then on in my father's footsteps, attempting to find in motion what was lost in space. I traveled around a great deal. Cities swept about me like dead leaves, leaves that were brightly colored but torn away from the branches. I would have stopped when I was pursued by something. It always came upon me unawares, taking me altogether by surprise. Perhaps it was a familiar bit of music. Perhaps it was only a piece of transparent glass. Perhaps I'm walking along a street at night in some strange city before I have found companions. I passed the lighted window of the shop where perfume is sold. The window was filled with pieces of colored glass, tiny transparent bottles in delicate colors, like bits of shattered rainbow. Then all at once my sister touches my shoulder. I turn around and look into her eyes. Laura, I tried to leave you behind me, but I am more faithful than I intended to be. I reach for a cigarette. I cross the street. I run into the movies or a bar. I buy a drink. I speak to the nearest stranger. Anything that can blow your candles out. Laura bends over the candles. For nowadays, the world is lit by lightning. Blow out your candles, Laura. And so, goodbye. She blows the candles out. Tennessee Williams, The Glass Menagerie. Thanks for joining me.